So I want to start by first thanking you for doing this interview.
Of course, always happy.
Good. And I want to inform you that we did an interview with Emil Sutovsky, CEO in FIDE, a few days ago. He demanded that we put the whole interview unedited out on our YouTube. We did do that, and I'm going to do the same with this one, so everyone can hear the full.
To hide.
Exactly.
Maybe too little to hide, according to Arkady.
True, right. But so this is going to be sort of the story from the freestyle side, your points of it. And the latest development, of course, is that you posted an open letter on Monday saying that that for now you're going to remove the world champion title from the regulations, postpone the decisions to use it. Did that feel like a loss that it had to go to that?
Already starting?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Seems like I don't know. No, not at all, not at all. So I think there's a lot more leading to the story, but it's not a loss at all. I mean, just taking off that, because we went back, or I went back to where I was before anyway. Before, as you remember, last year we called it the GOAT Challenge. We started to communicate that we're going to do a Grand Slam tour. The whole World Championship thing basically came from FIDE, not from us, right? So it's basically, I have to tell kind of the whole story about it. You know, do you want me to?
Of course.
Yeah,
yes.
Of course. So you know, we did our little thing, and I had no idea what the FIDE is, who it is. I didn't care. And then out of the blue, I got a call here from Emil Sutovsky. Took his number, had a very nice conversation with him, very long conversation. That was the conversation when he just he explained to me that he was an opera singer before, and he sang like Papageno to me on the phone. I was like, was a little weird, you know, but I was sympathetic, you know. I was like, okay, very nice, this open person, it's like, whatever. We had a very good discussion, and you know, a lot of ideas, and he was always thinking what we can do together. And I said, I don't know, honestly, because you know, I'm really interested to do this our own little thing here. And then he asked me if I could organize the Fischer Random 960 World Championship here in Weissenhaus. And I said, oh, what does it entail? Yeah, like 200 players or so. I was like, oh, too much. No, I'm not interested. And so we left it at that, and we had some further up conversations, and I'm always open. I'm always open to talk to anybody. And so then along the road, when I talked to some other people in the chess community, they said, yeah, be careful with Emil Sutovsky. He's like behind your back, and he doesn't. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I have no beef with him, you know. Now I do, obviously, but at that time I didn't have any problems. So, but they said, no, you should rather talk to Arkady, because he's really the one in charge, and he's the president, and it's better. I said, okay, well, give me his number, whatever. We had a nice conversation. I think he was at that time in Paris at the Olympics. I think he was. I had a nice chat with him, and then I had nothing to do with them as well. I mean, look at our state of mind where we were. So we did this tournament last year, one-off, basically just to show the world how a great chess tournament might look like, and then think about later what we do with it, with Magnus together. And during the tournament, we got all this attention from chess.com and from investors and everybody and audience. It's great, you should do it. And so we needed to figure out what we're going to do anyway. Who is going to do it? Who is involved? And so on. How much is Magnus actually in the forefront of doing it? And you know, he has these interests, and he's invested with you, and here he's doing, you know, all this kind of stuff. But he really wanted to play these tournaments. So I said, okay, I'm going to organize a tour, you know, something where he can play these tournaments. And I was, because I am actually a very harmonious person. I'm trying to accommodate everybody. So I also coordinated with Arkady, so okay, you know, about the 2025 calendar, when we can put our games, our weeks into it, that it makes sense. I also coordinated with the Sinkfield Cup. I coordinated with the Norwegian people. So I coordinated with the Grenke, with everybody, to say, okay, I don't want to be in anybody's hair. And especially, I didn't want the players, because my interest is always the players. You know, I feel like I'm a little bit, you know, they are like my protectees, you know, all these young kids, you know, even the older ones are young for me. I just turned 60, so like Levon is also like 17 years younger. So it's like, I feel like I need to take care of them. And that was the initiative right from the beginning, that I thought that, you know, the Formula One drivers are, you know, so great superstars and treated like that. Why aren't the chess players? So that is my main focus. My main focus has not been to make a big business out of it. I mean, I had, you see what I have built, you know, and I had made a lot of money in venture capital. I founded, you know, AOL Europe, you know, I did all this kind of stuff. So I was not here to say, oh, that's a great business venture that I can do. I thought it's a nice thing that that we can do this in this environment and so on. So anyway, so I thought about the players, and yeah, so I don't know, I think I lost my thread. Where did I leave off?
Well, yeah, so sort of the fact that it wasn't you guys that started with the world champion, it was a grand slam.
Yeah, exactly. So I basically say, okay, let's do this tour, let's coordinate with everybody, right? So, and alongside the coordination, I met with Arkady just by chance because I was on private reasons in London in October. And here I met, of course, as you know, and you were there last year as well, like for a day or so. It's a very family-like atmosphere. Everybody is very friendly and you get to know each other really well. And there's also the people amongst themselves and the players that didn't even meet before, or some streamers together and so on. And so I thought it would be great if we do something with we founded the Freestyle Chess Players Club with the top 25 players. So I was thinking I wanted to meet some more of the players personally. Like I have met these 8 players last year. I met Jan Nepomniachtchi in Nice, for some other location. I met some other players. But then it was in London and there was like, oh, this tournament going on. There are at least 10 players that I haven't met yet. So I just wanted to go to the chess bay. What is it? Chess bay? No, it was a Global Chess League, I think, the tournament.
London, yeah.
And my idea was basically, I said to Holly, yeah, I'll be back like in 2 hours. I just meet everybody. In the end, it turned up I was there like for 3 days, like every day 6 hours, you know, because I was there in the hall. I was meeting everybody. And I met all the, except of the American players who at that time played the American championship, I think. I met also like all of these people like Hikaru and but Hikaru was in London. He was not in the US. He was not playing. But the Indian players, Prague and so on, and Arjun, and so I met all of these people. But also I meet other people as well. So in addition, this was of course organized by Anand Mahindra, and then he actually was announced to be coming personally to the. So I said, it's great, maybe, you know, because at that time we were still thinking doing something in India, and so I was thinking maybe we could meet with him. And I talked to Henrik and Magnus, said, okay, let's meet with Anand Mahindra. So we met in the VIP room somewhere, just Anand Mahindra, myself, and then it was like Magnus on the other side and Henrik. And I was focused on him, and then I was basically, he talked to me. I didn't look to the left. There was a big room. There was a round table for like 8 people, but we only looked at these five people and said, you know, that, and Anand Mahindra said, yeah, well, you are lucky you don't need FIDE, right? I said, I don't need FIDE, you know, it's like, what is, and then voice next to me, well, why do you, and there was Arkady sitting there, like, oh, okay, well, hi, Arkady, because we had met earlier. Because we talked about, you know, that the scheduling of calendars and so on and so on. I said, no, I mean, why would I need FIDE? I mean, I do a private tournament and so on and so on. And then, so this whole, had another meeting with Arkady in the hotel lobby of that hotel, and then also with Henrik. And we just talked about all of this, the scheduling. And Arkady basically said, okay, so I know that you don't need FIDE. He's referring to our previous meeting, and so we can't ask you like for money and so on. But we can license you the World Championship. I'm like, yeah, I mean, okay. But I said I don't want to be a FIDE World Championship because FIDE is also problematic, especially to our Western sponsors. A lot of our sponsors say if FIDE is like big time involved, then or it has a sign on, then they wouldn't sponsor. And he said, so I don't want to license the FIDE World Championship. He said, yeah, no, I understand that, but we can still license you the World Championship. And I'm like, what are you licensing then, right? If I don't make a FIDE World Championship, and he said, yeah, so but you can't basically do a World Championship without us approving. I'm like, Okay, I can, of course I can. I can just do it right now. I can just go online, change it, and it's a world championship, right? Yeah, no, but it's not possible. You can't do it. I'm like, so I said, Arkady, at this point you have to be careful because I'm a weird character. It's like also I went through. I have been a very bad employee because I'm always, when the boss says to me, you have to do this, my reaction is like, let me think about it if I really make sense. I'm always the person. I'm not like the dog who has to be carried to the hunt. I'm rather like the lion who has to be, doing this task. I have all these crazy ideas like building this village of Weissenhaus or building a chess, whatever. So when I'm free, I can do whatever I want. So when the more you tell me I can't do this, the more it's for me like, let me challenge that. Let me think about that, right? So maybe I want to do it. Yeah. So I said, the more you press, you can't do this, the more I want it, because just to show. I don't know. Maybe it's a childhood issue. I don't know. But the point is that I'm always against oppression, against people who want to say. So then he said, yeah. So I said, I'll do it. So next, like a few days later, I had the website changed. I said, then we are world championship, right? So then I said, okay, now we are world championship, right? So what do you want to do? You can't license the word world, right? Maybe they want to own the world. Maybe they want to own the world. I don't know, but they want to own the world. But and I also said, it's like, don't fight this. It's like, whatever, we can do something together or not or whatever. But in terms of if you fight this, it couldn't be a better PR for us. I said it back in October, than to fight publicly about the word world. Are we allowed to use the word world? It's great. It's great for the tabloids. All the media will love it. It's perfect. Great PR for us. But it makes no sense, right? So I just left it standing there, right? Then they invited us. Then he said, "Yeah, you should come to Singapore for the world championship And I'm always open for cooperation. Maybe this is something we could do together. We could have a joint press conference where we explain that we coordinate our calendars. Maybe we develop a joint ELO system for the players, and come to Singapore." And we're like, okay, so but maybe the idea was to do a halftime show, like similar. I'm always looking at the show element. For me, I don't come from the chess world. I come from from the consumer market. I built AOL Europe, like when an online service before the internet. World Wide Web was invented in '94. And I did my online service starting in '92, right? So 2 years earlier. So the point is that I'm always thinking, like, how would a consumer, like, this is also the village, the hotel, It's like, I have not come from the hotel industry. I said, like, how do I want to experience a hotel village, like, as a, whatever. So I did every little detail, down to, you will see that in every bathroom you had, even for the women, you have, like, you can shave your legs, so you have this thing up, So I'm thinking about all these from a consumer perspective. And the same thing, like from the chess, I'm saying, okay, how would a consumer like to look at this, right? And so this is how we set the whole up again. I think sometimes I lose my train of thought. Where did I left the train of thought?
It keeps rolling, and this is super. I think like we were in October here.
Yes, we went October. Yeah, so he invited us to Singapore, right?
Yeah. November.
Halftime show. I was thinking, okay, again, like, I call it Grand Slam, like from the tennis. I look from the football halftime show. I was thinking, okay, let's do maybe the World Championship, and like in the middle we do a halftime show, freestyle showing, like. So that was the idea. So then we said, okay, we of course we don't want to do a full Grand Slam, whatever. We basically say, okay, we have two players. Let's say number 1 and 2. So at that time it was Magnus and Fabiano. So we said, okay, then Fabiano had a scheduling thing that he couldn't. He said he can only do it just before the World Championship, because afterwards there was some tournament he was playing. So we said, okay, we don't do a halftime show, we do it something before. And so then we organized everything. We went to Singapore, and then we experienced very strange stonewalling, like really very strange. Like it was, we booked an event venue. Like we were always, and you will see it in Paris as well. We are booking the greatest venues. If it's not Weissenhaus or whatever, we're booking the greatest venue. So we looked for example, a Sky Bar, right? The highest bar in Asia, wanted to book it. So we got a great confirmation. We're happy to do it. And they said, even if you find a competitive offer, we are beating it, and so on. 24 hours later, they wrote us something like, we had a mistake, obviously, unfortunately, it's already booked by somebody else. We got this 5 times, okay? Really? 5 times. So it's like, wow. this is like everybody was excited, and then obviously it were back channeling with somebody, and somebody, maybe Emil, I don't know, it's like somebody who was sitting there who was like suspicious to kind of say, we don't want these people here, right? And it went so that it was like, it's so crazy. It's like, what are we doing here? I wrote to Arkady in the WhatsApp message that basically, so, if you don't want us there, just don't invite us, and we are happy to stay away. I'm the last person to go to a party who's not invited and be there. So like, we're happy to stay home, or we go somewhere else. We go to Dubai, or we go somewhere. We even thought we go to New York because there was a shareholders meeting of our investor Left Lane, and they would have loved to have us with the shareholders meeting because they had Derrick Rose there, Gérard Piquet. Would be great to have Magnus. So I said, and then Arkady wrote, no, yes, please come to Singapore, please come to Singapore. And so, for example, getting a little bit fast forward, he is accusing me that I'm leaking messages of publishing. But for example, if nobody did at that time, for example, he would tell to other people, I never said, please come to Singapore. What am I doing? I go to my WhatsApp chat, make a screenshot and send it to the guy and said, look, this is what he sent to me, right? So this is when I start sharing, is that, and of course he's mad because transparency is the enemy of lies, right? So I just expose. I say, if I say this, I don't want to go into the he said, this is all the information. Think about it yourself. But anyway, we were at that time. So I said, come to Singapore. We were like, okay, so we don't know how to trust these guys, whatever. So then, in addition, we went to the Singapore Board of Tourism and we got a great conversation with them, and we also got to the cultural minister himself, because I have some great friends also, and he invited us again, the Minister of Culture from Singapore. Suddenly, all of these events were available again, right? So this is also why, if you looked at our Singapore coverage, we have done events in several locations. Why are we doing this? It was an insane, because we booked all of them to be sure that we are not kicked out of one of them. So then we said, as we have them anyway why don't we do it on all of those? We did it on a helipad, on the sky bar, on a yacht that we rented. Actually, the first yacht was also taken away from us again. So we booked a yacht in Thailand and had it driven over. So we knew this was our main backup function, because we said this yacht could have not been taken away from us because we booked it and we just had it there. So that was our main backup. And in the vault, in the end we said we did all of this, which was great because we showcased the city of Singapore. The whole event cost us $1 million, right? The whole thing, right? To do it. But also it's great because now we get approached from other cities wanting to offer us hosting fees to come with all of the great chess players. Instead, for example, the World Championship in Singapore took place in a conference hall. Could have been anywhere in the world. Why in Singapore, right? So, and even the Singapore Tourism Board told us, we explained to the FIDE guys, we could do this, and this. Said, no, we can't do it. So anyway, but I don't want to be in competition. I say, I was in Singapore because I was invited. We go there. I asked, so I'm coming there. Now, in another interview, maybe Sotowski says, they are running on our budget. What? I'm running on their budget. I'm spending $1 million to go in Singapore. Why am I running on their budget, right? I don't know why these people, they got these crazy statements out, which I only can counter in terms of showing the WhatsApp messages. This is what they said to me. Yeah. So anyway, we were in Singapore. I had long conversations with Arkady. Like, it was so many messages. It was, at one point, it was really funny because he internally, Holly sometimes says maybe he's your mistress because he's like writing to me the whole time. Like, we were at a dinner with many people and so on, and my phone was always blinking, always with a message from Arkady. And even sometimes when I didn't answer, like within half an hour, how can I interpret your silence? I'm like, well, it's not an interpretation. It's just I didn't get to my phone. Yeah. So the thing is that all I want to say is that the interest was not from us to want something from FIDE. It was from them to figure out ways how they can have access to the money that we have raised. That's basically, I think, that's the background. So in the end, I said, okay. So he said, yeah. So I think Thomas made a good proposal. He had also a discussion with Arkady, and he made a proposal. Said, okay, so you have, because FIDE has this Rapid and Blitz at the end of the year, and we have these 5-6 tournaments a year. So he said, okay, Arkady said, why don't you have your Western sponsor maybe also offer the possibility to sponsor the Rapid and Blitz, and then we share the revenues 50-50, right? Wow. So good idea. I said, yeah, perfect. So that was in November, December. I said, yeah, it's a great idea, let's do it. And then he came back, he said, yeah, I spoke to my board, we need a minimum. I said, what minimum? It's like, yeah, minimum guarantee for the 50%. And we talk about starting FIDE 25 this year, not last year. So we're talking not about immediate, but next year. Mm-hmm. And so I said, yeah, minimum, I don't know, it's like, I don't know what we're making, let's do 50,000 or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not enough. It's like, come on. I mean, it's like, anyway, so then, yeah, we'll make a counter proposal. So then they came back, like a few days later, said, yeah, we organize a women's tournament or some other tournament, had nothing to do with our thing, but you give us $500,000 per year. I'm like, joking, no, it's not going to happen, right? So this is when I came up with this, what we are really talking about is money for nothing, because we don't want anything from you. We don't want a license from FIDE. We don't want anything. But then you can't call it a world championship. But then we are again at the discussion. It's like, if you tell me you can't, I'm doing it, it's like internal. It's like, the more you tell me I can't, the more I want it. Like, just stop doing it. If they would have said, yeah, whatever, it would have been much easier. But it's like, so then they were so fixated on this thing that they want to license us something, right? But there is no Nashi to license. We are talking about money for nothing. I came with the Dire Straits songs. You know Dire Straits?
Yeah, oh yes.
So, yeah, so I said money for nothing, chicks for free. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like, and I said, let me go back so I went back to our board, and so internally we said, the maximum we are willing to give money for nothing for those guys to just go away, piss in other people's pool, not in ours, basically saying, okay, $100,000, mm-hmm. And that was on December 5. I looked it up because we had and then I said, I was in Abu Dhabi because I was with Magnus and Ella. We were in Abu Dhabi. I wanted to show them Formula One, the final. I wanted to show them where we're going to go, what our goal is in the end. So I know exactly. I was sitting in a hotel in Abu Dhabi, by the beach, and Arkady was saying, "Yes, I'm going." He's always when we negotiate, already friendly, very nice, and so yes, let's get back to it. I get back to you in the afternoon. It sounded like it's a great idea. I'm going to ask my people. I'm going to get back to you in the afternoon. Since then, radio silence, nothing, no callback, nothing, not whatsoever, right? And instead, they decided to go against the player, which I think is the stupidest idea. Sutovsky is accusing me of calling them stupid. I don't say they are stupid. Maybe I said they are stupid to do this idea, but I mean, it's like to go against the very assets that you have is, I think, a very stupid idea. I think it's not. And so then also they said, no, we are not going against the players. No, we are, so blah, blah. And so in the end, I was basically out December 5. I didn't care. I said, whatever. I don't need FIDE, whatever. And so then we had other things to do. Of course, I have a different life as well than just chess. And so then that was then when I think Hikaru and Magnus got together, mm-hmm. like by themselves, without even me being involved, because Magnus got really upset that the FIDE is harassing the young players. And although it's not even him, he couldn't care less because he's anyway his own person and whatever. But that's what I think, that FIDE got it so strong that even Hikaru and Magnus, who up to that point had only say hi and bye at tournaments, mm-hmm. right? They got together, they decided, okay, we're gonna tell FIDE that if they don't back off of the young players, we are not gonna show up in New York for the Rapid and Blitz. So then I got a call from, I think, Henric or Magnus, and then he said, okay, yeah, so Arkady made this promise to us, which we don't want to publish in the end, somehow, because it's the one that he now shared,
yeah.
where he basically said, okay, I'm going to personally, they didn't want to publish it, but he basically said, okay, maybe you can use that quote that Arkady said, the players are free, said, we are promising that whatever happens between FIDE and Freestyle, we will not go against the players. So that was their promise. So I said, yeah, but then Henric and Magnus said, based on that, if it's just internal, if it's not public, if we go to New York and it's not maybe, so we need something in writing. Can you put out a statement? So I for Freestyle, I basically, for the Players Club, I put a statement, I put this in, and this was the one I put out. So, and I clarified, I think that was what made him, because we were always thinking like, they are speaking like with twisted tongue, you know. They're saying, when they say the players are free to decide, I wanted to avoid that they say, yes, what we really mean is they can decide if they want to play that or if they want to play that tournament, right? No, I clarified, it means players can play all the tournaments that they want, they are free. This is when he answered, yes, there are some inaccuracies, whatever, so, but we will respond. Then I said to Henric, wait, they will do something stupid in January. He said, no, Arkady is such a nice person and he's so friendly, and it's Sutowski being the bad guy, and I was like, Henric, it's the classic good guy, bad guy game, It's like, we know it from everywhere, good cop, bad cop. It's like, but I don't think they play it that well, but it's their game, I said, no, I totally trust Arkady Dvork. I totally trust him. This is also why they went back, had Magnus play the Blitz in the end. So in the end, then we had New Year's, whatever. And as I predicted, in January, they came back with a big, strong arming and so on. And this really, then again, this is why, because they betrayed the trust of the Carlsen family. And Carlsen family is a very, very integer, very, very beautiful, nice people. And they're very loyal and everything. But if you betray their trust, this is what happens. So now then, at that time, they were even madder at me defeated than me, because I was like, I didn't care. So then I wrote a text, and it's only 8 days ago, I just looked it up. I wrote a text to Arkady saying, very short text, I don't understand what your goal is. The only thing you're achieving is alienating the players and giving Freestyle great press, great PR. So then he wrote back, yeah, let's negotiate again in good faith. I'm like, okay, or in goodwill, as he said. I think it's different English. He meant good faith, but he said goodwill. And so I said, yeah, sure. So that is when these negotiations started, right? So he said, okay, let's do this, all fine. And it's about FIDE's involvement, and so they made it so much about the World Championship. I said I couldn't care less if it's called I don't even want it to call it World Championship. My goal has always been to say we are a Grand Slam tour, and players like Alireza, for example, he loves it. Yeah, Grand Slam champion, he loves it much more than World Championship. It's like an old fashioned. It's something which basically, as I said, came up for FIDE. So you asked me in the beginning, is it a loss? Yeah. It's a long answer, but it's so. In the end, I said, okay, so we are. So then they really. So on one hand, he negotiated, but they had sent out this letter to the players, and that really, this is really vicious. Think about it for one time. So what they have been doing, they are an organization, a company, whatever they are, but they are an institution, and they have their legal director send a legal document to sign to teenagers during a tournament they are playing with a deadline that ends on the day the tournament ends. So they have no chance to coordinate each other, they have no chance to have legal counsel, and they have no chance anyway. Then they even say, you don't have to sign it, you just have to acknowledge that the content is correct. What's the difference, right? It's legally it's the same thing. But anyway, so it's basically, if you are strong-arming as an organization, a legal director, a teenager into such a contract, it's not valid anyway. This is why I call it an illegal document, because any court, if the player goes to any court and says, I signed it, but they really pressured me, it's like rape, right? So, it's like, it's not valid, right? So they could have signed it, I didn't care, but I think it's bad to go to the court and said, just don't sign it, because they can't force you to sign it anyway, right? Mm. So then, so they had this honest said, to Arkady, it's just like, let's, maybe I was thinking, okay, if we have a deal anyway, it doesn't make a difference. But what happened in the end, really what I also learned from players, what they tell me right now also, is that during our negotiations, they were really, really forcing. They were really putting pressure on the players. They were calling them all the time. He was meeting them in Weigernsee and even the young guys. They were like really. They asked me, what should we do, and so on. FIDE is doing this, and this is when he wrote me like, no, we are not putting pressure. This is when, of course, I make a screenshot, send it to the players. Like, they tell you this, sign it and whatever. And he tells me, we are just angels. We are not just a little angel. I'm doing nothing, and I'm just. So it's like, so this is when I'm not leaking text. I'm basically sending, the proof that he was saying something different to the players. Of course, he doesn't like it, but that's the way it is. So in the end, he was negotiating, and I was like thinking, okay, whatever. So they were. I even, for example, Wesley saw one thing. He was posting for one moment. He was posting. So I wrote to Lotus Key. I invited both of them to Singapore. They were my guest of honors. They were there for a few days. We got to know each other quite well. I understand Wesley doesn't have a phone. Lotus is doing everything for him. So they are great people. And so I wrote to her by email. I said, put up this post. Just wanted to. Sorry, I forgot to inform you about the current developments. Meaning that I am in discussion with FIDE that we're going to get this. He doesn't have to sign. So unfortunate, because I forgot that you don't have a WhatsApp, and so that you can only be reached by mail. 1 hour later, I got a message from Arkady. Said, you're reaching out. I mean, this is like a very interesting. When I had Wesley so he said, he wrote to me, a bit surprised that you called Wesley. He is just a very honest man, and everyone respects that. So my answer, why would me calling Wesley after his post on Instagram yesterday to update him on the latest development be in conflict with him being just a very honest man? Which I agree to. I prefer talking to honest people. Oh. Actually, I was equally surprised that you did not inform Wesley earlier about our ongoing negotiations, and that your deadline would be moved anyway, so there was no need for him to sign your illegal document. As a side note, I was very surprised yesterday to receive calls from young players asking me for advice, since they are still pressured by someone from FIDE to sign before the February 3 deadline expired. I think you should stop playing games and rather come to terms so that we can issue some kind of a joint press release today. This was our plan, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He answers, I am still working constructively on the deal. This is this Monday. I said, okay, hopefully we can get this over today and move on to more pleasant times. Of course. And so then he said, I also never take responsibility to call something legal or illegal, as it is not up for me to decide. So I answered, correct, this would be up for the courts to decide, if it had to come to that. But every legal analysis and previous similar court cases show overwhelmingly that it is illegal for a market-dominating player, as FIDE itself claims to be, to strong-arm young players into submission by having their legal director demand signatures from them with such a short deadline that they would not be able to seek legal counsel while they have to focus on their games in the FIDE tournament, which incidentally concluded on the same day as your set deadline. So then he said, okay, because we were actually negotiating, like this is like, I mean, this Arkady is like, wow. It's insane, It's like, this is why it's like looking like my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, this is like only for a few months. Like it's insane. So anyway, and I've wasted so much time with this man, because we were basically, and we had exchanges. I mean, this is why I have to show this, because it is the only way to show that this is like lies, because it's not that, I had requests. They had all these requests. I said, okay, let's do a deal. So I said, so for example, they said, okay, we do events. So I sent like, of this 7-page text that we have, see? I sent a quote, said, in yellow, I sent, this is what I changed. And it basically says that we will equally share all commercial and media rights to such FIDE organized opens. And this is one part of the text. So it's basically saying that I'm, I'm suing, this and then this, here I send this, these are the markups. I sent him the markup of our joint text, right? And so we have been in that for the 1-page press release and for the 6-page rules and regulations. As I want to say, let's have a joint. And I gave them everything. I gave them co-regulation, representation. I would even say, have the FIDE guy give the World Championship trophy in December. I invited them to Cape Town. I got them $300,000 per year, right? So all I'm saying is that, and then in the very last tweaks in the end, he said, I have to go once again back to the board, and I will get back to you later, okay? Then his last text says, the last message that I got from him, really ever, is, I will be in the air for some time in case you see that I'm not responding, right? Because I was waiting for him to get back to me after his board discussion. During this time, this is when FIDE put out the press release saying, well, the negotiations are over and it's like the demands from Freestyle. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah? I'm like, okay. So this is when I wrote to Arkady, okay, so that it is now. Very unfortunate. But obviously it makes no sense to negotiate with you, Arkady. We will issue a public statement later today and you will hear from our attorney, right? So what I realized in the end is that Arkady may have the title of a president, but in the end maybe he's the janitor, or I don't know what he's doing, but I negotiated with the wrong person, right? Obviously if I go to a restaurant, right, and I talk to the guy about taking over his restaurant, buying it, doing all the deal in the end, and after like hours and days of negotiation, he gets up and said, oh, by the way, I'm just the waiter here, It's like, what? Why did they use all this time, right? And then so saying, okay, now, we can't deal with this person because he's like, so that's the whole story. I was very open. I think they lost the deal of a lifetime for FIDE, because it would have been fantastic. They could have claimed co-ownership, representation that would have been at the term. It would have been all nice. And the money. When people say it's not about the money, it's about the money, right? So anyway, maybe it's about, but in the end, I don't care. And so it's a very long answer to your question. Yeah. Do I feel it as a loss? In terms of, yes, it's a loss because of a loss of a lot of energy, time. I mean, in the end, I spent 5 days, every day, like 10 hours, whatever, with WhatsApps and changing documents on the phone with Arkady and so on. And in the end, everything I had done is to the bin, right? In the trash. But first of all, Arkady really had some good ideas. We took some good ideas. For example, we have this audience choice player that we said. He had the idea, which we now continue to take. He said, why don't you take 2 players and they play a match and then the winner goes there. So like these things, we leave it. So it's not that he just did. Of course, we integrated a lot of language like praising FIDE and respect, blah, blah, blah. They want all this respect, but they are not respectful. It's like, so they basically accuse me of dividing the chess world when I'm basically saying I come in, try to coordinate with everybody, all the players can do it. They are the ones saying, you player have to decide. You play with them or you play with us. That's them, it's not me. So that's what I call division. So in the end, it's basically a loss of, but the real benefit of all this is, again, back to the beginning, fantastic PR worldwide. I mean, look at this attention. Thank you very much, FIDE. Thank you very much, Emil and Arkady and whoever is behind that. I don't even know. I don't know whether I don't know if you know yourself who is in charge in your organization. I don't know. But thank you very much, because I'm doing this like for the last days. I have interest from the US, from India, from Germany, from many other countries, even from Spain, from France. Everybody calls me and I do this explanation. Everybody knows about Freestyle. Thank you also for the timing, because right exactly 2 days before our tournament, we have all the attention. Yeah. So it's, again, very long answer, but it's not a loss.
Well, Jan Henrik, thank you for giving us the full story. I, of course, at this point have to highlight that FIDE and Arkady and Emil, they're not here to answer. This is your side of this story that is just on everyone's minds right now in chess. I have 2 follow-up questions. One is, so you're talking about this World Championship title. It comes from FIDE. You then sort of, when they say you can't have it, it becomes sort of a little bit of a competition for you. You then want to show that you can legally have the title, right?
I always want to understand, if I understand, if somebody gives me a task and I get the you know, the reason why it should be done. If I get the reason, I'm doing it, you know. But just I'm not grown up in a totalitarian system or whatever, because I'm a free spirit, you know. So I always need to be convinced to do something, right? And so when they say, okay, we want to license you the World Championship title, so you can make a World Championship out of this. So the idea basically came from them, not from me. Then they say, okay, but you have to license, but you have to give us money for that. I have to understand, why do I have to give you money for that? So then I finally understood, okay, you want money for nothing, okay, just because, right? And so then I have to figure out what is the maximum I'm willing to give, but I'm not willing to give you $500,000 a year for nothing. I'm maximum willing to give you 100,000 per. But in the end, so then they turned it around and said, but you can't, and you can't, you can't. Said in the end, so this is also why I said, you know, when they really alienated the player, they really harassed and strong-armed the players, and they were all afraid. So I said, you know, that's not the cause. I mean, I can easily be smart and say, well, we can go back to the original. We do our Grand Slam tour, and then we will decide at the end of the year if the winner is called a world champion or not, or whatever. We can decide it. But it's something. These decisions, this is nothing to do with FIDE. They can't do my decisions. They cannot control. And the only thing I didn't give them is total control over our business. Why would I do that, right? And so it is basically. It's unfortunate that we used all this time, and I think FIDE has shot itself like in the foot with this. It's like I cannot not say the other way.
Yeah, but I guess sort of from that point of view, the thing about the World Championship title is that if there's too many of them going around, then there's sort of inflation in the title. It doesn't become as prestigious if anyone can just arrange a World Championship. I guess that's one of the points, and also that arranging the World Championships for FIDE is the main income, and they need that income to finance what they do for kids, for women, for other less tournaments with less interest in them.
Well, what I have heard, first of all, from also insiders, that a lot of the money is not really going to the causes, but into like a lot of pockets, some pockets of a lot of some people. But that's not for me to decide, because I'm not funding the organization. But though these arguments are kind of really ridiculous, because they wanted themselves to crown a Fischer Random world champion, right? So and so you can have, of course, many world champions, like they do rapid, they do blitz, whatever, and so on. So the question is like, why does FIDE have to regulate everything, right? Because they didn't get it together. Like since 2.5 years, they don't even have a. So it's the right of the players that they can have a world champion. Ship, and that they can declare a world champion. Like even Hikaru says, you know, I have been the world champion now for 2.5. Why is nothing going on? So now there comes a private organization, and FIDE is the same private organization. They always say they're a private organization, the same private as a private company, sitting in Switzerland. So we are doing the world championship. If we are doing the world champion, if we decide, I mean, it's like. All I'm saying is that up to us, and I wanted to put to the players. So this is why I have the round table on Sunday. We're going to have all the players here. We're going to have people dial in as well from other players and so on. So because I want the players to say, do we want to call it a world championship? Do we want to be a world? I couldn't care less. It's more for the players. But this argument that is confusing to the market, you know, and that the confusion disappears if I pay $500,000 to FIDE is ridiculous. It's nothing that I can understand. This is, if I can't understand it, then I'm saying, no, we are not changing it. Because if you don't explain it to me, if it's just because you are the bigger and stronger and you're twisting my arm, you can't twist my arm, so you twist the arms of the poor young guys, then I have to be protective and say, okay, these players are under my protection. And so for now, I decided the best protection for them is not to put them in the line of fire, decide to sign, not to sign. So we take this championship thing back, away, think a little about it. We have like 10 months to think, because we didn't want to call it a world championship anyway, because it makes much more sense the way we are setting it up. It's a Grand Slam tournament, and a Grand Slam tour. It's not a world championship. It's like it's not the right word for it, you know. But in the end, if the players want the winner to be the freestyle chess world champion, it should be up for them to decide without having any penalties because of the FIDE. Another example, if they would be so concerned about any world championship to do with chess. Why do they allow the Bughouse World Championship to be there? Like Dingley Rand was just openly said, yeah, he's participating in that. Is he now banned with FIDE events because he participates in a different world championship? No, because it's all about the money, right? And I can say, I didn't raise the money to give a lot of it to FIDE. Why? Why? For what? So if they don't contribute something, so this is why I think we found a great compromise in this deal, where I said, I give you $300,000 for organizing one open over-the-board tournament that can be FIDE branded, and then you can take your fees from the players or whatever you do usually. I don't care. I just want the World Championship points, the Grand Slam points that count to the winner. And so yeah, so maybe if we decide the winners, so you know what I mean. So the point is that if you want to deal with me, you have to convince me about stuff. You can't force me or tell me to do. You know, if you convince me that this is the right thing. So this is why if the players decide, you know, actually we want to play it, call it this XYZ, then I'm totally with XYZ.
Yeah. My final question, Jan-Henrik, is going to be about you. You come from outside the chess world.
Yes.
You've had massive success in the field that you've been working in. Suddenly, within quite short time, you've become one of the most influential people in chess, one of the biggest names in chess. Organizing this Grand Slam Freestyle Chess Tour must be costing more money than it's bringing in.
Yes.
I'm just very curious, why are you doing it?
Yeah, good question. So why? I think this is like my best friend Peer gave me this T-shirt for my 60th birthday. It says in German, it escalates anyway, right? So whatever I do, if I'm passionate about it, it escalates. Like, think about it, you know, if I do a little online service, becomes AOL Europe, we sell it for $10 billion to AOL in 2000, right? I do venture capital funds, it now has $4 billion under management, 70th generation. I have this little nice spot, Weissenhaus, 15 years later, you know, 150 million later, it's this thing, right? So it's escalated. So the whole thing about the chess is the same thing. So I said, you know, if I started into the chess because I only wanted to improve my chess, learn a little bit. So I had Niklas Huschenbeck's course because I'm traveling all the time. So, and then he was visiting me like 1.5 years ago. He saw my studio and he asked me, do you want to do something else than just recording music? Have you ever thought about chess tournaments? I had no idea about chess tournaments. So I was like, okay, well, show me how a chess tournament works. He said, yeah, you can follow me online. I'm playing here, playing there, everywhere. And I was looking at him playing, and I was like so bored. It's like whoa. It's like, so, you know, this is how they do chess tournaments, you know. And at the same time, I was at the Formula One races, and I saw how the Formula One drivers are treated, and I was thinking like, the chess players sitting like in some gyms in their private clothes, and it's not really glamorous, whatever. So if we do a show element about it, it can be a great chess tournament, right? So then I said, okay, challenge accepted. Niklas said, let's do a great chess tournament here. So to do the greatest chess tournament of all time, I need the greatest chess player of all time. This is when I connected with Magnus, right? So I connected with him. We were in Dubai anyway, and he was in Qatar playing this tournament in 23. So Holly and I flew over. We met Henrik and Magnus for like 4 or 5 full days. And then when I said to Magnus, okay, so you know, I want to have this great chess tournament in Weissenhaus, and it should be all about you. So I think we should call it a GOAT challenge, because you are the greatest of all times. I thought it was you know, think about world championships. You know, it's just basically the idea. It's like GOAT challenge. And he said, yeah, if I can design my own tournament, I want to play Fischer random on the highest level with normal thinking time against the best people of the world. So I'm like, Fischer random 960 sounds like something you get in the pharmacy for your cold, right?
That's a good point.
So I was like, okay, so first of all, we need a new name. It was how I invented the Freestyle, because I wanted to market it to the public, and I can't possibly market Fischer random 960, you know. So I said, okay, let's give it a new name, Freestyle. And then we develop our own rules. And even this, I said, it doesn't have to be the Fischer random 960 rules, you know. Maybe we do something else with this down the road, and then we call the underlying technology, so to speak, Carlsen random. Why not? Fischer random You know, because Bobby Fischer also didn't invent chess 960. It was invented in the 1900s in Austria, right? So he took it and did some twists, like the bishops on different colored squares and whatever. So maybe Magnus has some other twists, and then he can own it. I said, you know, so we call Carlsen random. So now again, FIDE is saying we're also ruling Carlsen random. You know what I mean? So the whole thing where I'm coming from is like, what do you guys have to do with us? You know, just leave us alone. You know, do you want to rule monopoly as well? You know, it's like. So go regulate Backhouse, you know, just why don't you fucking focus on your core job? Focus on your classical chess tournament, rapid blitz, whatever. Nobody wants to piss in your pool from me. I don't care about you. You can do all the stuff. I'm even coordinating all the things, but don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I'm not allowed to call my little thing, what I'm doing, a world championship. If I wanted, maybe I don't want to do it, but I don't want to be forced not to do it by you, because then I would have to say, well, the more you force me not to do it, the more I want to do it. But now I'm going to find out what the players want. And honestly, if they want to call it a world championship, we're going to do it, right? If the consequences maybe are that they turn it around, maybe. Because FIDE, of course, on one hand also is very interested in having the best players at their tournament. Now, if they say everybody who plays here is not allowed, maybe if 15 players say, you know, we actually don't want to play at FIDE tournaments anymore, right? Turn it around. How would that look? Does FIDE really want to do their tournaments without the top 15 players? I don't know. So the whole thing about this division of the chess market is all driven by FIDE and not by me.
Yeah, Henric, thank you so much for giving us your side of this story. It's been eventful.
I think I didn't answer the last question, but I do want to, about the money, right? So because I don't want to seem like I avoid this issue, because it costs a lot of money. So I said, okay, let's do the greatest chess tournament. We do it here. I had a budget of like 500, 700,000, which I thought it was worth it. Then it comes here. Escalation is like everything has to be perfect. You see by now, if you look at all your rooms, everything is 100% perfect, right?
I can confirm.
The breakfast is the best breakfast in the world. We are voted the best spa in the world. 100%. We have the best food, the Michelin star restaurant. It was fantastic food like every day. So I have to say it's perfect. So in the end, it cost me 2 million euros to do this tournament last year, right? But I said it has to be perfect. So then I said, okay, it's just basically a thing. Why are you doing it? Because I can, right? Okay, so and I'm doing it. So after the fact, I didn't even have a contract with Magnus, you know. I didn't even but you know, these things, that penalties not to show up. It's like, what is it worth for me if he pays me like a $50,000 penalty and I invested 2 million, you know what I mean? So it's like, so I'm saying it's like, for me, it's all about trust. It's all about personal. So it's like, I don't need a contract, yeah. So we just do it together, and afterwards we say, what do we want to make out of it, right? So then we were approached by everybody, and so then I said, of course, it's not my hobby. I don't want to spend like 2 million every year of my money to do. You know, I have a great life. You know, we have a great farm in South Africa. We are here and there, everywhere. So instead, if we do it, we do a sustainable business out of it. And I'm taking the experience that I have done. I have done 15 years of venture capital in the US. I have built hundreds of companies, like the last big one, Sonos, you know, the music company. So it's a big AOL, you know, I know how to build companies and how to build value. So I said, okay, let's get people interested who invest in this and who believe in this. So this is when Left Lane, the company, approached us and said, okay, we are one of our specialties. They are $2.5 billion venture fund out of New York, but one of their things is inventing new leagues. So for example, they invented the Kings League together with Gerard Piqué, the soccer league. They invented the League One volleyball for women. They now have a snow league with Shaun White, for example, snowboarding league. So they said, okay, let's do a league for the professional chess players. So okay, we do it around. So in the end, they said they committed like 10 to 12 million. Now we took in $20 million, right? So the interest is really there. So now the money we are investing now is not my money anymore. It's investors' money. Of course, the investors don't want to have like a 5% return. They want to have like a 50x on their investment. It means that we have to grow into like a $1 billion company, which we will if we are successful. And we are successful if we follow the quality path, right? And so the quality path means that we took in this money so we can do these tournaments the way we think they are perfect, thereby attracting sponsors who then later on come in maybe second half of year or 2026 to sponsor the whole thing, take over the money, getting hosting fees, like I said before. But we are not in a position like saying, okay, we go to sponsors and said, we have this great idea, can you sponsor this? Or then we can do the tournament. No, no, no. We do the tournament our own money, invest in it, get the sponsors, media rights, and all the hosting fees and stuff later, and thereby kind of creating a break even, and doing a sustainable business. So this is not a charity project. This is not somebody who wants to say, oh, I have this great idea and I want to do this for myself. It's a serious business that has to be break even in 1 or 2 years on this level, and that has to scale from there to return the investors' money on a multiple X.
Wow. All right.